It's exactly 6:32 on a Monday morning in June, and I am wide awake, beckoned from my sleep by the soft yet insistent rays of the summer sun. Even though the cabin is still bathed in uncertain half-darkness, my internal alarm clock knows that it's time to rise and shine. I peek through the small window next to my bunk, watching the dawn paint the sky with watercolor pinks and oranges as the day begins. When this masterpiece is nearing completion, I slip out of bed and place my bare feet on the cold stone floor. My flock of teenage girls is still fast asleep, so I step carefully as I move to the bathroom to prepare for the coming day. In the bold, curly penmanship of my co-counselor, a few words have been scrawled on the mirror underneath a string of decorative paper lanterns. You are altogether beautiful, my darling. There is no flaw in you. By the end of the week, this verse will be surrounded by a dozen sticky notes, each one declaring what its author loves most about her own personality. Good morning, TMI. My name is Susannah Wright, although some of you may know me as Suze. I first attended Camp Capers in Waring, Texas, my freshman year of high school, and it has held my heart ever since. Over the past 2 summers, I have served as a volunteer counselor for 3 week-long sessions, and each time I find myself amazed by the experience. I'm especially excited to serve on work crew for the first half of this summer. When I was younger, my parents asked me time and time again if I wanted to attend a summer camp, as many of my friends did. And summer after summer, my answer was exactly the same. No thanks, maybe next summer. But freshman year, encouraged by my new friends at TMI, I took a leap of faith, packed up, and headed off to my first session at Camp Capers on a cold, wintry weekend in January. This decision was partly an outgrowth of a sermon given by Father Nate in my early days at TMI. He spoke of the story of Jesus walking on water and how Jesus called Peter to step out of the boat and follow him. Peter was terrified, but he stepped out of the boat onto the crashing waves anyway and followed Jesus as he walked on water. While many people look at this and simply see a famous miracle, it's easy to forget that Peter could never have walked on water if he had been too afraid to get out of the boat. In the same way, our fears can hold us back from doing the truly incredible things we are capable of and were born to do. This sermon came to mind as I made that first choice to attend Camp Capers. Honestly, I was nervous. I didn't know many people there, and I was afraid that I wouldn't be welcomed or that they wouldn't like me. After all, many of these people had been going to camp together since they were little kids. Why would they want to accept me into their group? I didn't know their customs, their games, their chants, or their quirky traditions. Everyone was wearing these bizarre pieces of wood with their names on them, walking around wondering what some guy named Hector was up to, and asking me if I wanted to buy a duck. What? It all seemed so foreign and confusing to me, much as I'm sure it seems to most of you now. After that first session at Camp Capers, I faced a choice. I could easily have gone home, put the memories behind me, and faded into the background. I could have forgotten all about that place and never returned. But something deep within me didn't want to. I felt like God was calling me to give it another try. So I forced myself to open up, come out of my shell, and become comfortable in this new environment. That is one decision that I've definitely never regretted. Later that year, I attended my first full session at Camp Capers, and I absolutely, unequivocally, fell in love with it. That week at Camp Capers and the friends I made there not only made me feel at home, but also encouraged me to attend Happening 119 later that summer, just a few weeks before the beginning of my sophomore year. I can honestly say I had no idea then what I was getting myself into. That weekend, I became part of something so much bigger than just me, of a network of people all over the Episcopal Diocese of West Texas, all over the United States, and all over the world. Since then, the Happening movement has become one of my greatest passions, I knew from the start that there was something special about happening, something that distinguished it from other similar church retreats. This has been cemented in my mind by my multiple experiences as a staff member and as the rector of Happening 126 this past November. In my opinion, one of the most powerful things about Happening is the sense of community, of unconditional love, and of acceptance. Much like my first moments at Camp Capers, I went into Happening more than a little uneasy, not only because I had exactly no idea what was going to happen at Happening, but also because I didn't really know the vast majority of the other people going. Within just a few hours, however, both concerns dissolved completely. I felt more comfortable with the other happeners, more at ease, and more ready to be myself than I sometimes did around people I'd known for much longer. This was a place where it was okay to dance around like crazy for absolutely no reason, to laugh and joke and sing and cry. And every moment of lighthearted fun was complemented by a dozen moments of serious spiritual growth. In these two decisions, I made the choice to get out of my boat and to try something new, even though I was at risk of feeling uncomfortable or awkward. It's a decision that each and every one of you must have made at least once, because you're sitting here in this room at TMI, having joined the community as a new student, either in middle or high school. I'll never forget the trepidation I felt as I entered my 8th and final year at St. Luke's Episcopal, the school I had attended for as long as I could remember. I was a messy mix of excitement and tears as I realized that in less than a year, I would have to leave St. Luke's and move on to the big, bad world of high school. The early part of that year went by in a flurry of nervous information nights and anxious school visits, but from the moment I first walked onto the TMI campus, I knew there was something about it that inexplicably felt like home. The thing that drew me to TMI then is the same one that makes me dread leaving it now: the community. I was overwhelmed by the welcome I received when I entered my freshman year here at TMI. Since I had attended the same school since pre-K 4 and graduated from it in 8th grade with 19 kids I'd known for many years, I was worried that I'd have trouble making friends in this new environment. I'll never forget the 2 TMI upperclassmen on my basketball team who befriended me as early as summer open gyms. Nor will I forget how special it made me feel to be smiled at or greeted by them in the hallways, even on the busiest of days. My classmates and teachers welcomed me every bit as warmly, and even though I was so new to the TMI community, I soon felt like I'd been a part of it for years. I urge you to be that person for someone. Be the one that helps them think of TMI more as their home than just their school. What I'm saying here is simple. Don't let the fear of not being accepted keep you from being the person you truly are. Over the years, my experiences in these 3 communities, Camp Capers, TMI, and Happening, as well as the foundation built by my home church, have taught me more about who I am and given me the confidence to just be myself. Who I am is the kind of person that has spent way more time with her face in a book than with her eyes on a television screen. The one who sometimes texts her friends in Latin and quotes The Princess Bride upwards of 5 times on an average day. Who I am is that girl who has almost as many Camp Capers or Happening t-shirts as TMI polos, probably more, who loves the way that 100 voices singing praise to God blend as they rise to the Texas stars. Who I am is the kind of person no longer afraid to laugh at herself or to play guitar in public, who loves puns and will make them ceaselessly, even if no one else is amused, and who wants nothing more than to stay a child forever and watch Disney princess movies or The Land Before Time with her parents, even though she knows that something new and exciting is waiting just around the river bend. Who I am is someone still learning to love to watch the morning come, because it brings with it new opportunities, healing, grace, and love. In the words of 1 Corinthians 7:17, don't be wishing you were someone else or someplace else. Who you are and where you are right now is God's place for you. Live and obey and love and believe right there. These days, as my final moments of senior year tick by, I find myself nervously peeking into the budding light of a brand new sunrise, a fresh dawn on the horizon waiting for me. And even though I don't feel totally ready for it yet, I know that there are so many more beautiful lessons out there waiting to be learned. So look around you. Your sun is also rising. It's a new day, a new beginning. Throw open your doors and welcome this glorious life that is yours for the taking. I want you to remember this. Each and every one of you is altogether beautiful. There is no flaw in you. Take this knowledge, get out of your boat, and explore what's out there. Step out onto the crashing waves and abandon whatever's holding you back. Because if you don't just give it a shot, you could miss out on your miracle. Thank you.